Hello, welcome to another beautiful episode of Healthy Living, reaching you from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Olamide Alhassan. Now, in September 2021, Nigeria had one of the highest rates of open defecation globally. According to data from UNICEF and the World Health Organization, in 2017, it was estimated that around 24% of Nigeria's population practiced open defecation. This means that approximately 1 in 4 Nigerians lacked access to proper sanitation facilities and engaged in open defecation. The Nigerian government has taken several steps to address the issue of open defecation. The government launched a campaign called Clean Nigeria, Use the Toilet to eliminate open defecation by 2025. This campaign includes efforts to increase awareness about the importance of proper sanitation and hygiene practices, promote the construction of toilets and sanitation facilities, and enforce regulations to discourage open defecation. On Healthy Living today, we'll be taking a look at the dangers and effects of open defecation practice on our health with registered and licensed environmental health officer, as the Provost Environmental Health Officer Association of Nigeria FCT Chapter, Sanitarian Tijani Eniojo. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
I'm super excited to be able to pronounce your name so fluently, and I'm happy about it.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome to the studio today.
Thank you, ma.
Now, because we're discussing open defecation, can you give us insights into what it really is?
Well, thank you once again. Open defecation in Nigeria has been a serious issue right from, in fact, long time ago.
Okay.
And if you talk of open defecation, you go around your premises, you know that these are practices that people have taken it as a norm. They practice on daily basis without implication or without them even knowing why they are doing all these practices. Talking from the perspective of its introduction, you see that open defecation is an emptying of bowel. You know, when nature called, you must answer. Absolutely. And when you answered, where you answered, how you answered is the issue. When somebody have it, maybe you go to a nightclub yesterday, you were pressed in the midnight, and you don't have a toilet in your facilities. What do? You have no option than to go back to an open to do the bush pools that they talk about, yes. Either in the pool or in an open. And as a result of that, you are endangering the life of people, the life of Nigerians. Wow. So when you talk of open defecation, it's an empty of bowel into an open space. Okay. Without the properly used of proper constructed facilities, such as the toilets. Okay. We have different kind of toilets. We have VIP, ventilated improved latrine, which is commonly used in our primary school. You know, I was thinking, when you said VIP, I was thinking, very important person's kind of toilet. Yeah. And, So we call it VIP. Okay. That is ventilated improved pit latrine. Okay. Which is commonly used in schools, especially the primary schools. We have WC, that is water closet, which is majorly used in the city, urban areas. You understand? Absolutely. So this practice, when people refuse to make use of these facilities, then they go into the open, into the body of water, into an environment. And the implication of it come back to you, because it is generally believed that what you give to environment, it's what the environment will give back to you. So you can't cheat nature. By the time you start practicing all these acts, it will definitely come back to you negatively, either on your health, in your lifestyles, in your social well-being, in your workplace, and even to the extent of increasing the expenditures of government in tackling such communicable diseases. Okay, now, because you talked about open defecation being nature calling and you answering, let's talk about how nature calling us and we answering has become a health concern. Now, when you have eaten, when you have enjoyed yourself, definitely the bowel must respond. And once it responds, the nature will call you to go and drop it, because one, you will be very, very uncomfortable as a result of that. And until you drop it, you will not be satisfied.
Sure.
So that is nature calling you, because it is natural, irrespective of your social class, irrespective of your age, irrespective of your affiliations, your power in the society, your influential connections in the society. When that time comes, you must excuse yourself and do the needful. It is nature calling you to go and drop what is inside you. Otherwise, you must feel uncomfortable. And why is it that nature we call it nature? Because you cannot send anybody. It is not what you used to send. No matter your power, even the president go to the toilets to make use of the facilities.
Of course.
Because you cannot send your PA. There is no chief of staff that can handle that for you. It is a personal thing between you and your God, due to the activities of yesterday or activities of this morning. So when the nature called for you, you must go and respond. Otherwise, you feel uncomfortable.
Sure.
That's
So now we're talking about the health concerns now. But before we even go deeper, let's talk about the categories of people that actually practice this. Does it have age, age bracket of those that actually practice this, from your experience so far?
Now, there is no age limit to this practice. Even the child, now, you gave birth to a baby, you use the modern Pampers,
Yes.
right? At the end of the day, where do you drop it? It becomes a case. Now, when the child is growing up, if the adult ones in the society have not trained the child on how to make use of the toilet, it becomes a problem as well. Even the adults, the aged ones, women, childbearings and thereabout. So the open defecation practice is not something that is limited to some certain ages. There is no age limit to it, because even the child you gave birth today, as long as he goes toilet, the Pampers, you wrap it and keep it where? How do you dispose it? If you don't dispose it properly, your actions have led the child to practice open defecation.
Wow.
Yes.
People probably didn't even pay attention to this aspect.
Yeah,
Because they just dump the Pampers and they believe, okay,
You understand? And when those things are taking places, flies must respond. And when flies responds, they pick the agent immediately. I could remember back then in the rural area, when you go, sometimes you even call a meeting of your friends. Some persons have a particular place they go to do this practice on daily basis. And the moment you come down, you squat, you will not see any flies at that moment. But when the tip of the feces come out, flies from nowhere begin to come. And that same flies will invite in friends. Before you finish, you get like, depending on the infestation of flies around the place, you get like 30, 50 flies. And the moment each of them pays on it, they take the germs by their body, by their hairs, by their mouths to houses. They take it back to homes. They take it back to kitchens. And when you are enjoying yourself, you believe you have done a delicious meal to yourself, then you eat this food. Some places you see people even using their hands to pursue flies from the food. You understand? So at the end of the day, what comes out of what you have consumed is the health aspect of it. People get cholera, you eat food now, in the next 2 hours you feel uncomfortable. Started feeling stomach pains. I don't know what I eat. I don't know what I eat. I don't know what I consume. You know what you eat. Because the practice of the hygienic standard of what you eat is not okay. It's not standard. And when it's not standard, you must definitely feel the impact of your actions.
Well, I know there's going to be a lot to say, especially when it comes to health implication of this open defecation. But let's look at the reasons why people do open defecations. Is it possible that it's because there are no proper, toilets available to them, or people just believe that they can just do open defecation? Because I think words on the streets, some people believe that it's like manure, so they can just poo even in people's farms and they'll be helping them. It has benefits. People believe different things, different myths here and there. Do you think it's because there's no proper toilet, or it's just because people just choose to do these things?
Now, I'll answer it in two different ways. One,
Good.
people, there might be no financial strength to build a toilet for themselves. That may practically lead to open defecation. And secondly, many people believe that practicing open defecation is natural, it's healthy, they receive fresh air.
I think I've heard that before.
You understand? So they receive fresh air, and as a result of that, they feel comfortable going into the bush to make this practice.
Oh my God.
And in the course of doing this, a lot of things happen. Women have been raped as a result of going into the bush to practice this act. So some people even have the toilet, but they don't want to make use of it because they feel that it is not right for toilet to be at home. That is a taboo in some part of the culture. That practicing open defecation is more freely and is more healthy than making use of the toilet. Some don't want them and their wife to go to the same toilet because they believe it is against their traditions.
Oh, wow. I'm hearing that for the first time.
So some of those things, when you put them together, you see that those people need education. They need to be trained. They need to be guided on the importance of the use of conveniences, the use of toilets.
You know, because of this statement you made now, it reminded me of one time when we took a trip to the village, and the new house that was built for my grandma had her restroom inside the apartment. And she said, that's the reason why you people have germs. That's the reason why people are falling sick every day. How can you have your toilet inside your room? Why? No, she would rather go to the bush than, you know, use the toilets inside the apartment. And we're like, what is going on?
So that is
Is this because
practice.
I don't know? She feels like it's, if you do that, it means that you're not clean. There's no proper sanitation when you have your toilet inside your apartment. So do you think that too? Maybe that's what people are thinking. That's why there are lots of people doing open defecation.
That's what I'm saying, that many people believe that that practice is not good, in line with their own tradition. But because these people have not been talked to, these people has not been orientated, they feel that, okay, practice in the open is more benefit. But there's a way around it. You can talk to those people and see reasons why this practice has to stop. There was a community we went in 2018, my NGO, Grassroots Environmental Healthcare Initiative. We're in partnership with India government, and they sent the representative to Nigeria. Luckily enough, we were invited to that meeting, and we went to one of the outskirts of Abuja in Kwali area councils.
Okay.
When we come to this community, we see that, okay, open defecation has become a norm to them. The India government are willing and ready to provide a standard toilet facility for the community.
Okay.
But to our surprise, the community refused. That is not their priority.
Wow.
Now, you see a free gift. They say that is not their priority. What do? The government of India go back with what they have for Nigeria. We try to educate them. They say, no, we don't have road. So road is our priority. Why not accept this
And then
and look forward to the construction of the road, which is also important? But they refuse this. What do? We have to go back. That was in 2018.
Wow.
So a lot of things happen. People don't want to make use of the toilets, just like I said earlier. And that practice has negatively affects them. Not only the people around them, negatively affects them. Why is it affecting them? Because they are spending much on treatment of some diseases that can be what? That can be preventable.
True.
So the moment you continue to practice this open defecation, you must pay back directly or indirectly. So why not engage in the practice of the use of toilets? You can start now. It's not late. Because the government of the immediate past government of President Muhammadu Buhari, in November 2018 or 19 thereabout, declared through the Ministry of Water Resources, declared state of emergency
on open defecation.
in open defecation.
Yes.
That is what wastewater and hygiene. And set a roadmap that by 2025, Nigeria should be open defecation free. You and I know.
But do you think that that is achievable? Because
that is not achievable.
Yes, the reason why I'm asking you this question is because if you look at most government schools, let's not even bring in private schools here. Let's look at most government schools. You see a school that has over 300, 500 students having just like 3 to 4 toilets. How are they supposed to use 3 to 4 toilets? And in most cases, those 3 to 4 toilets are in terrible states that children would rather use the bush than use the
or
toilets.
even the classroom.
Exactly, because they might even get infections from there because they're not properly tidied. So what do you make of all of that?
Now, in a case like that, you know, in 2017, 18, and 19, my NGO goes to government secondary schools to give them this orientation, even menstrual hygiene, waste management in the school, the general cleanliness, and open defecation. To our dismay, there are no toilets. And the little one they have are in very bad shapes. Now, this is when we should also talk to our principals and those budgeting for the schools, that toilets should be a priority. Now, according to occupational health and safety, it is said that 20 students, or when you have a facilities, you have a population of more than 20, one toilet for 20 populations.
That can never happen in Nigeria.
You understand? So
Very well.
like in this school now that have over 300 students, at least they should have up to 10 or 15. Definitely they cannot come straight to the toilet from their home. These are things that take gradual steps. Either you did not did it at home before you come to school, then your home will be around 9, 10, 11, 12, and thereabout. Everybody cannot go to the toilet at the same time. That is why they specify that, okay, 20
toilets to 20
one toilet to 20
yes.
Populations.
But I don't think that's guideline. I feel like most organizations don't even follow it.
They don't follow it.
And now that rests on your shoulder as environmental officers. Do you guys, because I barely see you guys going around anymore. Like the usual thing was, I think while I was younger, we used to hear in the streets of Lagos, we hear wole wole, yes. Abi wole wole, so they always come to inspect your homes and all of that. But it doesn't happen anymore. I live in Abuja, but nobody has ever come to say, I came to inspect your apartment. So
no.
In that case, who will now tell if maybe, for instance, I'm living in a house where we don't have toilets in our apartment, and maybe like 50 of us are in the compound and we only have one toilet. So who's going to hold who responsible? Now,
it is the duty of environmental health officers to go house to house for inspection, especially from the hour of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and any other reasonable hours to carry out this exercise. But you cannot do it on your own. It is the responsibility of the government to also engage you and give you a timeline or a work schedule that you should do this. We have so many unemployed EHOs, that is environmental health officers in Nigeria today. And I cannot graduate and stand up and begin to go people's houses. On which authority do you expect me to go and do that inspection?
I thought it was like automatic thing, that it's your job. And usually you guys are not supposed to be sitting in the office. What are you doing in the office? Your job is on the field, right?
That's what I'm saying. Job is, okay, in FCT, for example, how many environmental health officers are gainfully employed? considering the population of FCT. And remember, FCT is let me call it a political design areas. If I walk to these premises now, and I'm here to take, for example,
yes,
to do inspection, by my guideline, I should not inform you before I come here, because I want to see you the way you are.
Very well.
I want to see you the way you act. I want to look at your environment and write a report on how you are, and not what you claim to be. Because the moment I inform you last week that, okay, I'm coming to this facility by so time, you tidy up everywhere. And I'll come and write good report about the premises. Whereas that is not the original report. So people, the government need to engage the environmental health officers. The population is drastically down. And about in 2016 or thereabouts, the immediate past government cancelled sanitation activities in FCT, especially the monthly sanitation. Because politicians go to their offices. You cannot tell them to go back and observe sanitations.
But I think the current FCT minister is now talking about sanitation twice, I think 2 Saturdays in the month. But I don't know if that has been finalized, but I know those discussions are underway.
I've heard him. Congratulations to him. We know he will do better.
Okay.
Because he's a man that has done a lot for his people in Port Harcourt. His Excellency Governor Elsie Ejiomo-Wike.
Well, ex-governor, he's now the FCT minister.
Yeah, the former governor.
Of course.
Anyway, now the FCT minister. And he has called on all the stakeholders that this must be done. I give no room for any excuses. That is a good one.
Well, now, aside Abuja now, what about other places? Because we don't hear the issue of... because I feel like if you still go about for inspections, then a lot of people should have been sanctioned. And that would bring about, you know, a reduction in the rate of this open defecation that is also affecting our health.
Now, people are not going to do this inspection because government are not engaging the right people. What they do now is, when politicians came, they bring in their people and do a revenue generation, which primarily is not the core duty of an environmental health officer. You engage your brother to collect money, to collect revenue. Do you think he will do better? If I come here now and see the structure, this structure, because you don't get this, because you don't get that, you are paying 5 million. And you begin to run here and there. And when you pay this money, the issue remains. You understand? So they need to engage the right people. Thank God that the sanitation has even been mentioned in the ministry now. And that responsibility should be given to the people that are rightly studied the course from the beginning. Going to house inspection should come back instead of all this running around for revenue generation. If you do your work properly, money will come. You don't need to run after money or to tell this person, okay, do this. When you come to a premises to do inspection, you check the number of the population. You look at their toilet facilities. Is it enough? If it's not enough, what do you recommend? You recommend. Because it's a statutory nuisance, you give time. Between now and 1 month, please construct so number of toilets.
But a quick question though, in situation where you go around and you find that, for instance, a particular home do not have toilets and they don't have the financial capacity, do you also make provisions for them?
Now, that is when the community come in. Okay, especially in our society today, female believes in buying wrappers. In 1 year, they can get up to 5, 10 different wrappers.
Okay.
But they forget that toilet is important. What does it cost?
Why did you now bring females in now?
No, when you say, okay, if we have provision for them to construct the toilet
so
for
is
them.
it just...
Now, they're now individual. That is where I'm coming.
Okay.
Individual can make that sacrifice.
Instead of buying wrapper.
Instead of buying wrappers.
But the same thing applies to men. If they're not buying wrapper, they are drinking beer. So what are you saying?
That is the same thing. Well, I'm using women as an example.
Because it's the men that own the houses. So
yes.
the women will not build the toilets for the men. So if the men don't make the call, it can't happen.
If influential people are in that community, they can as well get it for them. The community itself can organize and contribute and build a facility for their communities.
Okay.
NGOs, like we partner with India in 2018 or 2019 thereabouts, and the whole community refuses.
Sure.
The government on their part has to build sanitary facilities in our major gatherings,
All right.
like park, markets, and thereabouts.
All right, Comrade Egene, let's go on a quick break. All right, viewers, let's go on a quick break. When we return back, I will still be talking with Comrade Egene. Stay with us. Back, viewers, this is still Healthy Living, and we're reaching you from the nation's capital, Abuja. And we're discussing dangers of open defecation on our health with Comrade Egene. You're welcome to the studio once again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're discussing right now because you've shared a lot with us, and honestly, it's entertaining and of course enlightening. Now let's talk about some of the health concerns that are associated with this open defecation. What are some of the health challenges that can begin to spring forth when people do open defecation?
Thank you once again. Talking about the health aspect of this practice, you know, majority of these health that are associated with this practice are as a result of the mechanical carriers of the vectors that transmit this disease, such as one, the flies,
okay, and
cockroaches. In our environment, when you go to some houses, you see that cockroaches even dominate their buildings, their kitchens, their toilets, even their house, their rooms.
True.
Without taking cognizance of the activities of these cockroaches. If you go to toilets in the midnight, you see cockroach running here and there. They have access to go into the soakaway itself, pick the agent and as well return back to your kitchen, spread on the foods, waters, and thereabouts. As a result of this, when this happens, you prepare your food by yourself. In fact, you did not even send anybody, no house help. You do it by yourself. And at the same time, the food is contaminated. And that might be as a result of the presence of flies, presence of cockroaches that are the mechanical carriers of these vectors. And the moment they paste on this food, they drop the viruses. They dropped the agent of the food. And you will not know. You spray it, blow air from here and there, and begin to enjoy your food, thinking you are enjoying. And after sometimes, you discover that you are having stomach pain. Cholera have started developing. And if you look at our country today, cholera is one of the major health challenges we have.
There's been lots of reports of outbreaks of cholera, especially in the far north.
In the far north. And that is as a result of their practices. And this cholera, the rate of its increase is always between March to June. Why is it
because
increased
of the rain?
At that time? During the dry seasons, you go into these bushes and drop all what you have.
Okay.
You defecate in the open. When the rain fell, it washes the surface of the soil into the body of water. And that water, the community down the drain are using it as their drinking water.
Oh my God.
They are using it as their cooking, washing of utensils, bathing, and thereabouts.
And you know, people believe that the stream water is way better than
That
any
is
bottled water. Oh my God.
So when this wash into the body of water, you see that the rate of this cholera outbreak will be increased, especially at the early rainy season, the beginning of the rainy season of the year. That is one. Then diarrhea. When you have this food consumed, in the next 2, 3, 4 hours, you start feeling unwell. Before you know it, you'll be rushing to toilet. And at the moment you reach the toilet, water fluid. As a result of that, you start losing your weight. You see that your eyes begin to go inside. You look so pale because you are dehydrated. The water that is meant to be in your systems are the ones you are throwing away. Then another one is typhoid. Typhoid fever arises from the practice of open defecation and poor sanitation.
Typhoid?
Yes.
Wow.
The causative agent for that is Salmonella typhi. And once you inject it into your intestinal canal, it will start developing immediately. Before you know it, you start feeling unwell, running temperature. You go to hospital, they say you are down of typhoid. And that might be as a result of what you eat, what you drink, and your environment. You get it. Now, another health implication of it is malnourished, especially children between 0 to 5 years. Because of this activity, when they inject this thing, they cannot even feed again because they lost appetite. They could not feed well because of the presence of the virus in their systems. And until they get it out, you see that they will not be able to feed properly. So, the children, because of their low immune system, they don't have the strong immune system to fight the agents. And that is why you see that you have more of death of children that are affected by poor sanitation, that are affected by the practice of open defecation.
Now I understand why they made it mandatory that the first newborns should always be exclusively breastfed.
Yes. Because by the time you are giving them this water, you don't know where the water has come from. You give them this one, the food, you don't know how it's been prepared. And as a result of that, their immune system is not strong enough to withstand the viruses. Even as adults, you see what you pass through. Talk more of a child that don't even know where it's spinning.
It's the truth, but sorry to cut you. Something just struck me when you talk about by the time you give them this water, you don't know where it's coming from. Oftentimes, I've seen people say, I bought sachet water, I drank it, and I started having diarrhea. Now, that's water that is supposed to be, you know,
Clean.
Expected to be clean, you know, must have followed all the old guidelines of NAFDAC and all of that. But now, let's talk about these aspects. Do you, as sanitation officers, go to some of these places where people get to produce, aside people's personal homes now, do you go to places where some of this water are being produced, things that are for healthy consumption? Do you also go to check their environment to see if they are following the necessary guidelines, if they are as tidy as they should be, if they are doing all these things, if all of these rules are being followed? Because I remembered, I actually had the experience of working in a restaurant some years back, but I'm trying to remember if at some point, if we had any environmental officer come around to check us to see if we were clean enough to be able to attend to, you know, the guests. But mind you, our reception could be as clean as possible. But what about our kitchen, where the food is coming from? So do you get to do some of those things? Because that's where all of this starts from.
Yes. Now, it is by law that we go out to any premises, irrespective of the owner, even the presidential villa, to carry out this inspection without obstruction. When we went to some of these facilities, you notice that they are not practicing the standard of production. And as such, we have even closed down some of the factories in one of the satellite towns in this FCT some years back because of their unhygienic practices. In every factories, there are laid down standards for you to operate. And once you start deviating from such practices, you may automatically contaminate your production. And once the source is contaminated, automatically it will affect the last production. So many of them do not treat the water properly. They don't wash their tanks. And tanks should be washed often.
Especially water tanks in most people's apartments.
Yes.
They don't even get to clean them.
They don't
properly.
clean it. Some don't even know that need to be washed. And by the time you don't wash it, accumulation of germs continue to grow. You see bacteria growing around the tanks because you are not taking care of it. And once that gets into the water, it will definitely come down to the end users, which is the person that buys it. You get some sachet water, you see dust in it. You see particles in it. This is as a result of improper activities that were carried out within their facilities. So we go out to these factories to carry out inspections. Like I said, the environmental health officers are not enough in Nigeria, not only in FCT.
Okay, because you said environmental officers are not enough, and we now know that this is actually a thing of concern that impacts public health.
Yes.
What are we supposed to then start doing?
What we're supposed to do first is government on their part should engage more environmental health officers.
Okay.
In FCT, the people that are working with government are not up to 200. Okay, considering the population of FCT, how many houses will 200 goes in a year? And it is expected that when you go out for inspection today, you write your recommendations, you educate them either orally or through writing. Then you have to revisit to ensure that what you detected is corrected. Okay, if I have not finished with this extension, when do you expect me to come back here?
How long do you take before you go back for a second check?
Depending on the nuisance detected.
Okay.
If it's a statutory nuisances, it is expected that you do it within 24 hours.
What kind of nuisance is statutory?
The nuisances like, cobwebs, hanging cobwebs, overgrowing weeds, stagnant water, all those things are statutory nuisances.
See, thank God you're mentioning these things, because it's occurring to me now, because when you talked about stagnant water, overgrowing weeds could actually, harbor anything that
Snakes,
can be,
reptiles,
all of these reptiles. Even stagnant water can now breed mosquitoes. But it simply means that when they say our environment is our health, it simply means that for us to actually stay healthy, the bulk of the work is on you.
It's on you, and it's not much. It's not like, okay, you are going to take full days to do this thing. Okay, some people have a container by their side, by the kitchen side. Rain fell for 1 week ago, and the water is still there. Go back to that water, you see mosquito larvae inside. Because you refuse to throw away this water, just throw away this water, in a few seconds you are done. But you leave it there and mosquito continue to grow on it. These are some of the activities. It's not something that's, okay, you have overgrown waste. How many hours will it take you to clear it? If you don't have the time, engage someone else to clear it for you. Once they clear it for you, you see that, okay, that place is even neat. It beautifies the environment, but you don't know it.
Absolutely.
So people need to do a lot in order for them to get healthy. If you clean your environment properly, your workplace properly, in fact, your health is automatically improved. Your health is automatically improved. So all these things are as a result of, one, maybe people have not been orientated. And that is the more reason why government need to look into engagement of qualified personnel, environmental health officer, to begin to go out for their daily inspections.
So in your organization, the environmental health organization, is it possible that you've also looked at working with religious leaders, community leaders, to help sensitize people? Because just like you mentioned, most places with the biggest problem here is usually the rural areas.
Yes.
I'm not separating the urban cities, but even the rural areas now, Because people just feel like I gave you the example earlier, they feel like if I even defecate on somebody's farm, it's manure I'm actually adding to it. Just because they feel like if you can take chicken feces, you can take from animals, it's manure. So they believe that, oh, adding manure for this person, and they'll just go, defecate on people's farmlands and all of that. So if is it possible that you also, do this by going to religious leaders, community leaders? Because I feel like the people would listen more to their religious leaders and their community leaders. They are the first point of contact to the people. So if people know the dangers that some of these things that they do pose, I feel like they will do better. Or how do you guys then go about these things?
Yes. When we go out for inspection, if it's community, we first of all go to the chief's house or the religious leaders. If you start from there, you have sent a signal to the entire community. And chief also has a role to play by communicating with his own people that if they can inspect my house, who are you in this community that
cannot be inspected,
obstruct people from not coming to inspect your house? So we engage the religious leaders, the community leaders, and influential people in their community, because they listen to some of those people more than they listen to other people. So if you engage the community leaders, give them the roadmap, and they should even be involved in the committee. When you are setting a committee, make sure you include the religious leaders and the influential people in that community, because by the time a decision is taken, he will be the one to go back to the community and tell them the resolution of the government and their roadmap, the activities they want to come, how they want to do it, and if you fail to do it, these are the penalties. That is how it is. In one of the facilities I went to inspect the other time, Supreme Court quarters.
Okay.
When we come to these facilities, their soakaway is already filled up. There's a school behind them. Now that this soakaway is filled up, it's directly channeling into the canal along the school. So when the school cried out, they say, who are you to cry? At that end, they don't know the implication of their actions. When you come there to talk to them, they send security, they get man. Because they feel they are big ogas that cannot be subjected too low to discuss issue of that to you. At the end, we went to court with the matter. They hire themselves, come to the court and begin to do intimidation here and there. Who are you? Who are you? This and that. It has not got into that. The judge said, okay, now you are here. These people say this is what is happening in your environment. Are you aware of it? They say no. Okay. The judge now give order, a local standing. Leave his seat and let us go there by himself. And when the judge go there with them, they were all surprised that, is this thing happening here? They are aware that this is happening here, and that is why we came here first, train you people, give you orientation on what to do about it, do a reconstruction of this soakaway to avoid this leakage. But they ignore it. And when they ignore it, we take that step. At the end of the day, they were so ashamed in the presence of the judge that why will you be having this kind of thing? See the future generation behind you, and you are giving them this kind of thing to eat. Is it good to you? So they have to pay a heavy fine for that, and at the same time correct it. And that sets an example for people living around them. So a lot has to be done in the environment. The environment is crying. And why are we having all this kind of disease today? Because we are neglecting the actions of the environment.
In fact, flooding is also a thing of concern because people tend to block their drainage with trash.
You see it? Flooding is another case. When you talk of flooding, you talk of building on the waterways. People build, like what the FCT minister just said, that if you build where you are not supposed to build, it what? To go down. That is his action. You can imagine that you build an estate without giving cognizance to the waterways. And you cannot stop the flow of water. And when this flood comes, it comes with a lot of things. These are some of the implications of not taking note of our environment. Flood can exhume a dead body into the same body of water and be flowing.
And that's what's causing most of the waterborne diseases.
You can understand. So at the end of the day, what kind of disease that comes after flood? And one thing Nigeria is good about is, now that there's no flood, nobody talked about it. The moment there's flood, they start talking about relief. Why not make ways for this flood not to even come in the first place before you talk of palliative? Since it happened in 2012 and 2022, have they done anything about it? Nothing. Now the Federal Ministry of Environment has given out a letter that Cameroon will soon open their dam. That those on the waterway,
They've opened it.
those on the waterway should leave. Is it the right time to discuss it?
I think now that's where I'm going to be asking you this question.
Go ahead.
Some of these things are supposed to be put in place because it looks like we are reactive, we are not proactive. Because I know that NIMET have been giving out warnings since last year that the rain this year is going to be more than last year. But I see people didn't do anything about it. Most government didn't even do anything about it. And I want to say that your agency probably too didn't go around, you know, checking people's drainages and ensuring that everywhere is clean and
clear.
okay. Because I feel like before these seasons come, shouldn't you go around for some checks, especially because of some of these health implications that tend to stem up during these kind of seasons?
The truth is that they are going out. But because the population is not enough, you will not notice it.
Okay.
They are going out. AEPB, FCDA, they are going out. Federal Ministry of Environment, they are going out. You understand?
Very
but
well.
because the population is not enough, you will not see it. And politicians have hijacked it. The ones that are supposed to go out to do this work are now revenue generators to them. Instead of going and do the needful, they go down and say, okay, you don't have a waste bin. Your bill is 50,000. You don't have toilets. You have to pay 200,000. At the end of the day, they compile all these things and then file the person. If you file this person, the owner of the premises, he finds his way either to negotiate and pay. And once that is done, the issue still remains, which is not the primary responsibility of an environmental health officer. We have to teach, educate people on how to live a healthy environment. Because the health of one man is the health of all.
It's a public health concern.
It's a concern. And once that is not corrected, if I'm down today, I will not be able to be here.
Sure.
If I have cholera today, or I'm down, I have diarrhea yesterday night as a result of what I ate, I will not be here. I'll give excuses.
Sure.
Leading to low productivities in our societies, breaking down the economic of the country. The money you're supposed to use to do one or two, you use it in buying medicine for yourself. Then how do we progress?
All right, Comrade, again, let's talk about, on a final note, in your opinion, what do you think is the best way, to eradicate open defecation and, bring sanity back to our health?
One, this aspect has to do with everybody, individual, the community leaders, the religious leaders, the NGOs, and government. Government, on their part, has enacted different laws. National Environmental Sanitation Law, National Environmental Health Practice Regulations, Environmental Sanitation Laws, and others. The Council, which is the regulatory body of environmental health practice in Nigeria, has issued different guidelines on how to go about the environment. That is on the part of government. The government on their own also has to engage sanitarians who goes round the city, round the country to inspect and abate nuisances. The NGOs has to, in collaboration with the people in government, as well build public toilets. Like if you go to beggar and you are pressed around that beggar, where do you think you can go to toilet?
Problem.
There's no way to go about it. So even if it is to construct a toilet and map somebody to be collecting 10 naira from people, one, you have stopped open defecation practice. Secondly, you are generating revenue for the government. Don't you know that that will improve our environment?
Absolutely.
If you go to Ministry of Environment, which is the custodian of the regulation, their frontage is full of open defecation because there are no sanitary facilities around the place. So government need to do more.
All right.
NGO also has to come into. Then individual, you build a 3-bedroom flat without a toilet. You build a face me and face you without a toilet. Where do you expect your tenant to go to? So the individual has to build, when building a house, there should be toilets in the house.
Okay.
The construction of toilet has become so mandatorily that
Collaborative
all
efforts.
people must what? Be involved.
All right.
In the church, there should be toilets. In the mosque, there should be toilets. The church can gather and build toilet for community. The mosque can as well gather and build toilet for community. Individual can see the need of toilet facilities and build for community or in a strategic location.
All right.
So if that is done, drastically, the issue of open defecation begin to reduce.
All right.
Begin to reduce. And once it reduces, one, budgeting on poor sanitation will reduce.
Absolutely.
The economic of the country will increase.
All right.
Get. So these are some of the things that we should do.
Thank you
individually,
so
collectively, and as a nation.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Environmental Probe Health Officer Association of Nigeria, City Chapter, Santera Gene Tijani Eniojo. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me, man.
All right, viewers, I'm sure you've learned a thing or two that open defecation can only be eradicated if we work collectively. And that's how we leave it for Healthy Living for today. I am Olamide Alhassan. See you again next week. Bye for now.